All right, for segment one today, we start a new series covering After the Bomb. I had to twist Heathen Dog's arm to let me do this. I had to promise him all types of things that we can't go into on a video in order to have him let me cover After the Bomb because this is one of the two Palladium games that I have run, and I've run this one quite extensively. Not in recent years, but okay, let me fix that. I actually have not. I've never run this version of After the Bomb ever in my life, but I have run its predecessor, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, including the After the Bomb, Roadhogs, Mutants of Avalon, etc., supplements that come with it. So this is the new version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we are going to take a look and see what it has to offer. Remember, RPG Digest is a live stream podcast discussion, not a concise step-by-step tutorial. We may deviate off topic and go on tangents about how Heathen Dog so loves anthropomorphic animals and wish he played more of them.
Yeah.
And we've got hashtag RPGate, and I had a little disclaimer for that, and I can't find where I put it. So we're just going to say what it is. It's escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, natural inclusion, not forced diversity. These are the core values of playing good tabletop role-playing games. From there, what you do at your table is your business, and have fun playing games. Find us on the website. Talk to all the weirdos that you see here and more on our Discord. Back us on locals and buy our merch from Redbubble. I always say that there are 5 designs down below. I should probably change those 5 designs up. We actually have 29 designs on the Redbubble store, and I've just been too lazy to make more. But a whole ton of designs, some family friendly, some not so much, but you can find something for everyone. And here is our schedule. Today is Sunday, so we are doing RPG Digest. Heathen Dog is back on Thursdays playing some sort of co-op game. Recently, it's been Imperium Galactic Survival because somebody is not available for Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Garthon was gone for 3 streams for training.
Yep.
For his yearly job recertification training. So he was in Wisconsin and had a potato laptop. That's all he had, so couldn't actually play a game anyway. So, but we are going to come back to Dungeons and Dragons Online free to play only on this Thursday. So we're coming back to it. So that's good.
And then Friday, I'm here with the Friday Chill stream where I talk about, I don't know, all types of hobby and nerd stuff and bring guests on. And this last week we had Venture, and usually have a panel of 4, 5, 6 people that pop in. I always say I'm going to cap it at 4 and somehow it becomes 12. I don't know. It's weird. But talking about nerd things just in the nerd sphere. And then I tend to react to weird videos out there and all wish we'd gone to church the next day, even those who aren't religious. And then Heathen Dog is back on Saturdays with Dungeons and Dragons Online or whatever. You could be watching this a year from now. He may not be playing that anymore. He might be playing a whole different game like Diablo 6. You don't know. But it's co-op with some people over on Twitch. So, here's the book. Set up. F11, that bad boy. And Heathen Dog's in charge of this and failed. Like, subscribe, and share. My story. I'm sticking to it. Share that After the Bomb. I don't need audio. Share. There we go. There's the book in all of its new glory. Just as a side note, this PDF is the first printing. The book I own is the special 7th printing. I don't know what's special about it, but it's the special 7th printing. I have not found any differences so far in it. So I don't know what special 7th printing means. And we're not going to cover this book in order. The reason is because the way we do these segments here is we want to present the information where you can kind of understand it because they're different videos, right? And if I just go in order, everything's going to be jumbled up, and only when you get to the end will you be like, oh, that's how it all comes together. What I want to do is I want to put something together a little differently where you can actually watch it in pieces and have those pieces make sense. So today, we're going to talk about, we're going to do everything but mutant animals. We're going to talk about the setting, and then we're going to talk about combat and Palladium games. Now, for the live stream viewers, I know we covered that a lot. But folks who are watching this video, this might be the only Palladium video they're watching. They don't know about Heroes Unlimited. They don't know about the Mechanoids. All they know is they wanted to find out something about After the Bomb, so we have to cover it with that in mind. So, sorry if it's repetitive for some of you, but just the way it's going to be. So here we go. After the Bomb. So what we're going to first talk about is we're going to talk about the history of After the Bomb. This is not that long, and but it's important to understand why we're here. And maybe if you don't like the idea of mutant animals, or you think, conceptually, why would you make a game like this? This may solidify that for you, or as in you still think it's stupid, or you might say, well, at least it makes sense. It's up to you. But there is a history. There is a reason why we are where we are. So let's find out what that is. All right, the birth of mutants. Starting at the turn of the 21st century, when humankind had completed the Human Genome Project, the sciences of genetics progressed in a blindingly brilliant steps. By the way, just so everybody knows, this was written in 2001. That's 21 years ago. So science has moved ahead even from when this book was written. So just take that in mind. Keep that in mind. Diseases, even cancers and genetic disorders, were tamed one after another, and it even seemed as if mortality itself could be defeated. By the way, if anybody's reading science right now, have you seen that stuff on cancer? Like
No.
they found oh my god, I think it was genetics. They found a gene or something that can actually end cancer. It's either a gene or a bacteria. I forget. Anyway, hopefully that goes to some peer review and is legit. Along with the great advances, it was also only a matter of time before the technology of genetics became a consumer product. Just as computers, once the property of giant corporations and governments, led to home computers, so too did biotech laboratories become miniaturized and marked down. Hey, Baldahar.
I can't wait for that. I want that now.
So do
want
I.
that for me. Yes,
Look,
I really want that.
Some people out there like, I don't want to live forever. I'm like, I do.
Well, no, I don't want to live forever, but
I
but
do.
the time I have, I want to live better.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Look, give me 500 years. I'm good at 500 years. The Buck Rogers me, I'm good. I just want to see what the world's like. I can back in 1977 when I entered kindergarten. We had paper for books.
What? Oh man, get out.
Right? Yeah. The Baldar says reading about science will rot your brain. The best way to avoid brain rot is stop reading anything. Oh. But
That's unfortunate.
I'm reading that because he's a subscriber. He's been subscribed for 55 months in a row. And I know it's actually been longer than that, but he had a couple months off when, things happen.
Yeah.
So thank you, Baldahar, for that. Really appreciate it. It wasn't long before ordinary citizens could buy gene scan attachments and software for their personal computers. Before, does that sound like like when I should know this stuff because I work in IT, but not biomechanics. See, I'm in game mode right now, where you put your fingerprint on there, and your computer unlocks.
Yeah. Biometrics. Yeah.
Biometric. God, why? Vocabulary is not my friend. It's getting worse and worse for some reason. Before trading in gene patterns was common on the internet. Wow. Okay. And before virtual breeding games, gross, let anyone experiment with mixing genes and chromosomes from different animals. One of the most dramatic new products was called Egg, or Embryonic Genome Generator. Sold as make your own mutant kits, the first eggs were used to grow transgenic mice. Eggs suitable for growing dogs, cats, and other pets quickly caught on. Always starts with the mice, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Within months, people all over the world were experimenting by mixing genes from different animals and even from humans. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about that. This game has mutant humans.
But it's against the law.
Mutant humans. Nope, that's a whole different animal. See what I did there? Which was against the law, but since every human carries a full set of human chromosomes, And that's what happened. A few years into the booming new technology, it suddenly became glaringly obvious that humanity had created other intelligent life on the planet. Not computerized artificial intelligence had been expected, but a new kind of intelligence. Animals with sentience. Animals that were speaking, reading, and writing, and reasoning.
Yeah.
If this is what happens when iAnimal goes bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, there only one dominant species can be on a planet at a time. And why would you make your own competition? I don't understand.
I don't like the creators behind Eclipse Phase, but Heathen Dog about 3 or 4 years ago did a series.
I did several 30-minute episodes on Eclipse Phase, and yeah,
First edition,
right? First edition, because that was what was out at the time.
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately, we won't get it. If it hadn't been for the crash, sentient animals would probably have just become another class of citizen. After all, what difference would it make? A few 10,000s of mutant animals compared to a teeming billions of human beings? All right, so what's this crash? What is the crash all about? I'm just going to be upfront with you. The way this is written makes me slap my forehead and said, "Really? Really?" I like it conceptually. I don't like how it's written in practice, and we'll see what Heathen Dog thinks after that.
Okay.
It probably started in high school somewhere. There's the first bad line. Some kid, not quite ready to take that Wednesday afternoon quiz, brought in a test tube full of homebrew that morning. After all, what was the harm?
Homebrew what?
Huh?
Homebrew what?
Homebrew of egg.
Okay.
Genetic nonsense. In the years leading up to the biocraze, virtually every known human disease and disability had been cured. Well, that's not the word. There was no reason to fear any mere disease. Bacteria were domesticated creatures. Viruses were tailored to do mankind's bidding. Even pesky autoimmune diseases were disappearing.
Awesome.
Right? I mean, that's a utopia for you, right?
Yeah.
For a high school kid, the idea of getting seriously ill, much less dying, from something as innocuous as the flu was ridiculous. It didn't seem any more dangerous than setting off the smoke detector, letting a skunk loose in the teacher's lounge, or hacking into the school's computer. Just good fun, right? Well, it was nothing to be really alarmed about, not at first. But it spread. It became a fad, an edge thing, a new way of impressing the cool kids. Eventually, after a few dozen incidents, there was that one that got serious. The media blew it up, covered it like flies on a sugar bowl, made a huge deal about it. And about 5 kids who cooked up, I can't read apparently. Made a huge deal about it and about 5 kids who cooked up the virus. People were outraged. Politicians screamed. Laws were passed. Now, had this been a real tragedy, had someone died or even been chronically ill, that might have been the end of it. Instead, the illness was short lived, a cure was found in a few hours, and it turned out to be basically nothing. The young people responsible were told never do it again while they basked in their 15 minutes of fame. This is more utopian.
Yeah. So I'm still trying to find where the bad things started happening.
To say the least, the law was ignored. Prankster diseases popped up everywhere. Copycats constantly tried one-upping the experts. It became a race, a contest. And the winner would be the biohacker who could beat the authorities. Now this is starting to sound like The Matrix, doesn't it?
Or the 1990s movie Hackers.
There you go. Follow the rabbit. See what I did there? And so simple human viruses wouldn't really crack the system. Bacteria were too slow, too big, too clunky. No. In order to confound the gene doctors, to get around the system, a new kind of disease was needed. The thing came about slowly, insidiously. First as a theory, promoted on a website, Anarchist Cookbook. Then a few kids always kids, man.
Mm-hmm.
Then a few kids got together to work out the structure and the details. It took millions of processing hours. Only a couple weeks with time borrowed from tens of thousands of computers. Zombie computers. There's a simple idea. What if a human cell just like the cell in every human body, that's what a human cell is. You didn't really have to explain that to me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Was modified to a disease form. After all, every good medicine leaves the human cells alone when it attacks the invaders. Whoever cooked it up was probably one of the first victims. Within a month, 30 days, over 74% of the human race died.
Okay, there is no possibility that something could spread that quickly. It's just not possible. It's not possible. Bullshit.
Victims of rampaging genetic change caused by a cell that contained a full set of human chromosomes. Once released, it was unstoppable and billions died. Some animals were affected as well. About 25% of all primates, 10% of mammals, and as well as 2% of other creatures showed symptoms of the disease. Of those animals affected, most died, but about a third seemed to mutate as they recovered, gaining human traits. This disease seemed to suddenly inject the afflicted animals with 5. Now, this is a game term that we'll discuss later. 5 to 30 points of bioenergy. 1d6 times 5. Now, I agree with Heathen Dog on this. This is craziness. But remember, this was written in the year 2000. What were some of the movies that came out in the year 2000? What'd they have to do with? end of world disasters, diseases that can't be stopped that take 3 days to travel across, universe. It was like Armageddon was still fresh in people's mind. I know there's more asteroid, but you get like these doomsday movies were the rage back then, right?
Okay.
I think it was just yeah, Outbreak. There you go. That Outbreak movie. I don't remember what year that came out, but I think that was late 90s as well. So I think it was just capitalizing on that. Kind of like, the ninja craze of the 80s, right?
So,
So
Andromeda Strain.
Andromeda Strain,
12
yeah.
Monkeys
12
was tw- 12 Monkeys was different. It didn't take, 30 days to kill 74% of the population. It was actually a little more based in reality on that one.
He is correct. This background is very different than this book. Not just different, very different. Yes. So this is why I'm kind of learning with you on this. I've read through parts of this book. I've skimmed other parts of it. I know what's going on in it, but I haven't like memorized this stuff. But yeah, he's absolutely right. Anyway, at first it seemed At first it seemed that most of the surviving animals were unaffected. It wasn't until the next generation, when their offspring were born, that the extent of the plague was completely realized. That manufactured disease, containing the 23 pairs of human chromosomes, was also infecting the offspring of many mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians, as well as a few fish, crustaceans, and insects. Okay, so that's the crash. The crash was this disease that came out there and effectively wiped out 3/4 of humanity. But this is called after the bomb, not after the crash, right?
So we got to have a bomb.
So let's have the bomb.
Okay.
So I'm guessing because you're more hard science than I am that you're thinking this is kind of nonsensical so far, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wait till this part.
Awesome.
Perhaps if the crash hadn't happened a few years later, it wouldn't have triggered the following catastrophe. After all, most of the world was at peace, and there was widespread talk of disarmament and of dismantling the last remaining nuclear arsenals from the Cold Wars of the 1950s and 60s.
Okay.
Nobody believes that. Instead, when the crash hit, it looked like an act of biological warfare. Now, we're not getting political here, but just look at what happened when the Wuhan virus, the Kung flu, first started kicking everybody out there. All fingers are pointing everywhere, so on and so forth. So that part at least makes
all
some
fingers
sense.
are pointing at China. There
Not
was
the
no all fingers.
WHO.
No, China had 10 fingers pointing everywhere else, but the entire world had all their fingers pointing at China.
Few believe that such a devastating plague could be anything other than an intentional attack, and fewer still believe that.
Stop. An unintentional attack that in 30 days kills 74% of the human population. Sorry, that's also stupid.
And fewer still believe that the source of such pain could be just a high school prank. Heathen Dog and I are going to focus on different parts of this just because he already knows how I feel about this. I hate, and I'm going to say it a third time, I hate, all capital letters, the Wesley Crusher syndrome. I cannot stand it when 15-year-old kids are the cause or the savior of the fucking universe. Oh, segment 1, pardon the cursing. But I hate it. I hate it. So it's the high school kid part of this that drives me crazy. If I would actually go, well, you know what, it's far-fetched, but somewhat believable if it would have came out and said a Wuhan lab or Russian bio, because I actually had to learn when I was in the Air Force how Russians and Americans were putting together biological agents and so forth. And it's creepy. So, I could at least tolerate that. I cannot tolerate this high school nonsense. Dying in their headquarters, palaces, command centers, and military bases, it seemed that retaliation was the only solution because why not? So the bomb was dropped. The button was pushed and thousands of nuclear missiles were targeted on the largest cities. Remember, 75% of the population dead.
Yeah. So this is mostly going to hit nobody. You're just destroying real estate. That's all you're doing.
Right?
Dick.
And thousands of nuclear missiles targeted on the largest cities in the world. Note, the fall of human civilization, the massive collateral damage is known as the crash, the death, and the big death. The latter two terms are more common among humans. Okay. Humans? Here's an interesting question. Do young human characters actually exist in the world of After the Bomb? Sure, we have the Empire of Humanity and dozens of other human-dominated lands, and certainly there are ancient humans still in existence. Are any pure humans remaining? Consider the following. Now, for you Rifts people out there, the Empire of Humanity is fairly close to the Coalition,
Okay.
but it's not the same. One, in the years following the clash, the genetics of most human offsprings were heavily modified, just to assure their survival, if not for other changes and quote-unquote improvements. Often these changes meant splicing animal genes in among the humans.
Yeah. Awful mistake.
Because it seemed to work so well for them, right?
Yeah.
Desperate for children, mini mutant babies with human looks, perfectly, mostly primates and pigs. Okay, I'm going to read this slower. Desperate for children, many mutant babies with human looks, perfectly, were adopted
Nope.
by...
You also read it wrong.
Did?
Let me try it.
Okay.
Desperate for children, many mutant babies with human looks, perfect, that is a game term, mostly primates and pigs, were adopted by the
Perfect
remaining humans.
isn't a game term.
It is. It seemed like a game term. It was capitalized and everything.
Well, that's because it was after a colon and a different... just a bad sentence is what it is.
Human looks is also capitalized, so I'm going to go with the game term later on.
Fair.
I'm going to stick with that.
But I don't know if you noticed, but capitalized teacher's lounge earlier. That should not be capitalized. So I'm not sure writing and editing is famous in Palladium.
Yeah, fair enough.
After all, in huge pig farms where transgenic swine were bred for transplantable human organs, what would the operators have done in the aftermath of the crash? Not have pig babies.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Where their pigs would start producing human-like babies. Kill those pigs.
Yeah.
All right, but back to the game. I want to make something very clear here. There are probably people, especially in the future, that are watching this when it's just a video, that are like, oh my God, these guys hate After the Bomb. No, Heathen Dog is not a big fan of After the Bomb. I love After the Bomb. I just don't like this aspect of it. My world is the After the Bomb rules without this. So, anyway, especially when so many people lost their own children, were willing to pay for an infant to adopt. But and why am I reading this if I don't like it? Because some of this is going to be very prevalent when we start talking about certain types of animals. Heads up. Nope, not even going to say it. There's a rabbit thing that we'll be talking about later. Especially when so many people had lost their own children and were willing to pay for an infant to adopt. Most of these parents didn't ask or stop to think about whether they were receiving a non-human child.
No. God damn it. This backstory has so many stupid red flags that they're hard to count. They're hard to count. Absolute nonsense in this backstory. I mean, Palladium, in my opinion, is one of the best game systems with story.
Yes.
Absolutely. This game is the exception. It is a giant pile of modified human feces. This entire backstory is BS.
Replacements, yes. Have it as my baby or the future of mankind. Just want you to remember, you're sleeping with a pig. All right, moving on. Keep it there. No, I'm with Sean Cherry on this one. The original After the Bomb was better. But also remember, Palladium lost the license to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, probably wanted to modernize things, and this backstory does not do the game justice. That's my opinion. So, most of these parents didn't have to stop thinking, blah, blah, blah. And those who did know would likely be very careful to hide the fact from mutant-hating neighbors. Or, as we call them, our good neighbors.
Humans.
Number 3. Although they try to keep it quiet, the fact is the purity tests by the Empire of Humanity really only check for appearance. And the blood test only picks up obvious things like the number of chromosomes and the presence of some key primate genes, things that can be easily fixed by gene therapy. In the 3 generations since the crash, so approximately 60 years, most humans have had to resort to genetic fertility treatments in order to have babies. Treatments that clearly would have been allowed... My God, I cannot read. Treatments that clearly would have allowed the hidden mutant animal population to interbreed the remaining pure humans. Gross. could mean that 50% or more, as many as 70% of the people who believe they're human, are really highly evolved mutant animals. Depending on how things go in your campaign, this could be a very interesting question. Look, there's something I'm going to tell you about all of my my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles After the Bomb games. Mutant rabbits did not breed with mutant cats. It's like Gen Lab Alpha in that regard, for anybody who knows that game. Humans did not breed. You did not turn into furries in my game. Okay, just saying up front. This is all creepy for me. And that is the entire backstory of this.
Which is
So I'm gonna
absolutely
let Heathen Dog rant for a moment if he wants to, and I'm gonna look at some chat.
okay. Yeah, this whole backstory is full of so many ideas that have such a small percentage chance to actually happen that when you take them in totality, the whole thing becomes just the worst kind of fiction. The worst kind. The kind that you can't even suspend disbelief and think, yeah, I could see this happening. No. It started off with the whole 74% of the human population died in 30 days. Right there is a red flag that I can't get past. But let's say you can. Fine. Animals started giving birth to seemingly human children. And these seemingly human children were not killed immediately. That's another red flag. That would not happen in reality. These if a horse gives birth to a human baby, that human baby dies immediately. It's Spartaned off a cliff real quick. And the animal that gave birth to it is probably also killed. Just to be safe. You know why? Because people. That's what people do. They react immediately and harshly to something that is absolutely scary and terrifying in several ways, which this would be. Absolutely. So after these two increasingly hypothetically impossible things happen, the rest of it is just pure garbage. Absolute garbage. Having one of these several red flags happen, while theoretically possible, 99% of the time would never happen, but having all of these things happen one after the other is so far into the realm of improbability that we're at the quantum level now. Like there is a chance. There is a chance that I can immediately right now cease to exist right here and begin existing right behind Max Liao. That is a non-zero probability that could happen when I snap my fingers. But guess what?
There are a lot of zeros before a dot and a
Yeah.
lot of zeros before that one.
Yeah. Yeah. That could happen right now. Quantum tunneling, quantum entanglement, it's a real thing. It could happen. The same probability of that happening when I snap my fingers again, is the same probability of these events happening. Exact same probability. So yeah, this backstory it was written by a drunk Irishman in Gaelic, and then translated to English by a monkey high on meth. That's this whole backstory. It's ridiculous and awful.
All right, 3 comments I want us both to address,
Okay,
and then we'll move on. That make it so far fetched that TMNT couldn't come back and sue them. I don't know,
that doesn't sound probable to me
because After the
because
Bomb already had a backstory.
yeah, After the Bomb had a backstory, and I haven't read it, but Max Liao has, and it's not as ridiculous as this, is it?
No, it's dude. It's so many years ago that if I start talking about it on here, people are going to correct me in chat. But yeah, I know it was different. It was that the animals were uplifted instead of this
The
biological
humans
contagion.
weren't destroyed to make room for animals to thrive. Animals were
Brought to the
augmented
forefront.
by humans too much, and
Yeah.
then we're just better.
So all the needs had all the needs
I
had.
think he means weebs, but yeah.
But yeah, all the weebs. But here's the thing: this game has something worse than cat girl wives, and we will talk about that at some point. Now, to be fair,
Not today, but it's worse.
yeah, it's probably going to be next week. To be fair, some people are going to react to it more than they need to. Some people are going to freak the hell out, which I think is kind of dumb. It's a game. But at the same time, it is one of those things that's like, okay, creepy. And that goes into the last one here. And this one, I think, just imagine given a choice between constipated and some pig's DNA. Some pigs are more equal than others. We're not talking here about, like, if somebody gave me a pig heart and let me live another 25 years, I'm all for that. We're talking about treating a porcine human as your baby.
Plus, the whole constant pain thing means you have some kind of chronic disease. But in the beginning of this backstory, genetic engineering,
Yeah.
not putting animal DNA in human DNA, which was illegal. Genetic engineering already cured diseases and tamed viruses and stopped bacteria and all that stuff. So all of that was already done before this animal nonsense started. All of that was already done.
Eastman and Laird absolutely has artwork in here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was modern. It was today, well, 1980 something, but it was today time, right? Palladium lost the license to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. After the Bomb was long before they lost the license. And I mean, you've got Roadhogs, you've got Mutants Down Under, you've got
Mutants in Orbit,
Avalon, you've got Mutants of the Yucatan, you've got all these different things, these futuristic
Mutants
ones.
in Orbit.
Mutants in Orbit is a hybrid between Riffs and TMNT. Yes.
It is a possible Riffs timeline parallel.
Well, you have transdimensional TMNT, which goes into time travel. It's got Doctor Who in it. So yeah, no, the old version, this new After the Bomb version is what we're reading, though, and this is what's changed. And believe me, there are a lot of changes. It's still the same generic game. You're going to feel the same, but for anybody who's watched me talk about this in the past, and we really got to get to the next part, is I used to complain, just used to freak out over ferrets and weasels. +9 to physical prowess, just by saying I want to be a weasel.
That's completely broken. And badgers, stop it.
Well, again, are you talking the Angus thing?
I'm talking about the old game.
Oh, the old game. Yeah, I don't know what badgers had. I know people wanted to be them though. So, there are changes. There are definitely changes in this rendition, the modern After the Bomb versus the original After the Bomb. All right.
The backstory was we basically got the BS out of the way.
Oh, I'm annoying. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Jacob. No cry. Okay, no, you can cry. Just mute your mic, sissy boy.
Oh, I wasn't muted. I'm sorry. I'm so horrible. All right, now back to this. Hey, you know what? People in chat are allowed to have opinions, and that's okay.
Yes. I am an asshole too.
All right, let's go to get the book back over here, slide this back over there. All right, I think he was just mad because I can't read for shit today. God, that's Second Time of Curse in segment 1. Okay, world overview, Time of Darkness. Now, I'm gonna skip over some of this. So I'm going to read these first 2 paragraphs, and then after this, it's gonna be more of an overview of the other areas. So, world overview, Time of Darkness, After the Bomb. After the crash, humanity still numbered in the hundreds of millions. That would have been enough to keep civilizations alive.
Yes.
After the bomb, there were less than 10 million humans left alive, many of them sterile or too old to have children, scattered throughout. How did the old people live?
Yeah.
Old people are immune to radiation?
Attack, yeah. When you're old, you can't deal with radiation as well as when you're younger. So yeah, that again is roughly stupid. But even having 10 million, you don't have a genetic bottleneck yet. I mean, the last ice age, there was less than 50,000 humans, and we came out of it fine. So yeah, this is more BS. But whatever, go on.
Okay, even though human-dominated nations still exist, such as the Empire of Humanity, it is becoming increasingly obvious the new world will not belong to humans. It is becoming clear that it will be the animals who resurrect civilization, who will again bring the light of learning to the world. All right, now you basically have the background of what's going on in the world. I am not going to focus on all of the different landscapes of Earth because it doesn't matter. Uh, it's up to you. There aren't, well, there kind of are. If you go back to the first edition version of the game, there are setting, like again, Mutants of the Yucatan, Mutants Down Under, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how well they fit with this version of the game because I haven't played them with this version of the game, but there are settings that you can get, and you can still get those old books. I really wish they'd be redone, though. With that in mind, we're going to talk about the Empire of Humanity mostly because it is the main bad guy. So here we go. You got the Arctic. I'm not worried about the Arctic. You've got Europe. Again, there are cities. There are enclaves of humanity there. And it talks about political situation, how the population, et cetera, how much the Empire of Humanity may have taken over or whatever its local version of that is called. You got Denmark, Africa. Nobody cares about France. Asia, Middle East. Again, it goes into, in case you want your game in a different area, it goes into these different settings just a little bit. Again, it's not enough for you to have a full-on setting, but it's enough for you to say, okay, this is how I can make it, because let's just use Tasmania right here, Tasmania, only 3,000 humans there. 7% of them mutant power, so it wouldn't be unheard of. 128,000 mutant sheep. What are they using them for? And 200,000 assorted mutant animals. So guess what you're going to meet?
Odds
Mostly,
are mutant animal. Yeah.
Right. Mordrin, this is
After
the bomb, the newest version of it.
And you missed the most ridiculous Palladium backstory ever written.
Yeah. Now, here we go. After the bomb, North America. This is a bit more important because it's probably where you're going to play your game. And if not, it'll give you the inspiration. So the time is the late 21st century. The place is America. And America torn apart my God. See, this is why that guy hated me. In America torn apart in a brutal catastrophe of war, plague, and nuclear winter. Sometimes called the crash, sometimes called the bomb, and sometimes called the big death. Oh, he's going to go back and watch it later. Oh, I'm losing all of our subscribers. The majority of the population consists of mutant animals, but scattered groups of humans remain, many of them hard at work helping the mutant animals establish schools, factories, governments for the new animal order. That is a tell that needs to be talked about a little bit. Not all humans are against the animals. Unless you're in my game.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is I don't want you playing a human. I want you playing an animal. I do have a fifth column usually of somewhat supporters, but they're not open supporters because I actually make the Empire of Humanity less cartoonish than it is here and more like the Coalition from Rifts. Other humans are not so enlightened, and records of persecution and killing are common. These are humans who see themselves as fearful dinosaurs teetering on the edge of extinction, and the mutant animals the heirs to the planet. Many, needing someone to blame, chose to see the animals as their enemy, an enemy to be destroyed if they are to survive. While this is not the case, there are those who preach it as gospel. One such force is the Empire of Humanity, which I hate to say it, but I think both Heathen Dog and I would join.
Yes. Yes.
You probably more flag waving than me.
No, definitely. The each planet can only have one dominant species. They're either going to kill us or we're going to kill them, and that's it. And I want to be on the winning side. So yes, every single mutant animal I find, I will gut like a damn trout. That's it. 100%. 100%. I will teach my children to make a game of it. You know, notches in your belt for every mutant animal you murder. I'm sorry, cleanse. I don't need to make it a religion. I don't need to make it a religion. It's fine. No, it's just natural selection.
Oh, no. Make it a religion. You'll have more sustainable followers.
I'll oh, great human God, I'll do it, blah 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 whatever. I'll do the lip service, but inside I know it's just natural selection. It's the way it's got to be. There is no living in harmony with a race on the same planet competing for the same resources but different outlooks on life. It's never going to happen. I'm sorry.
So we got Heathen Dog is suspiciously defensive on this issue, and Heathen Dog will become Shredder. Except for Shredder died.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
To be fair, I don't know how I would feel about this. I mean, as far as a game goes, I like the idea of playing a mutant animal in a game. I like playing Wolfen and Palladium Fantasy. But if the real world came out like this, I think I'm going to bond with my own. That's just the way humans typically work, right?
Yeah.
So, at least if I'm in a city of humans, I won't feel so dirty, enacting on certain urges. No, not out there in the animal world. Nope. The evil humans are capable of evil human because all humans are evil now, right? Evil humans
the
are
actual humans.
Yeah, there you go. Are capable of generating. The evil humans are capable of generating seems to be concentrated into one powerful force, the Empire of Humanity. With a functional nuclear fusion plant, with advanced 21st century technology, with a loyal canine nation blind to their madness. Do we see dog boys here? Because yes, actually it was. With a huge slave labor force, the Empire is one of the strongest forces in the known world. Worse, the Empire loudly threatens to exterminate all the intelligent animals.
I'm cool. I'm down.
Heathen Dog is Secretary of Offense.
Yeah, give me a laser rifle and a barrel of mutant animals to shoot. I'll kill them all.
Sure says, what happens if Nova Cat became a mutant? What would you do? Probably fight him to the death. I know that cat. That cat's just waiting to eat me. Player characters, regardless of their origins, will usually be citizens of Cardania or some small independent town, village, or tribe. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Cardania. What is Cardania? Cardania is the most advanced of the free animal states. It is also the most tolerant of its few surviving humans. With a new hydroelectric plant, another hot terrorist target. Why did that have to be put in there? They have advanced technology, but are still no match for the Empire of Humanity. Cardania is a democratic republic and has a constitutional identical to that of the United States. Population 400,000. And predominant species because what lives most in cities? Rats! We got mutant rats, mice, cats, dogs, and other common urban animals make up most of the population, but there are plenty of others, including a good number of purebred animals. Oh God, I cannot wait to not ever talk about purebred animals. Capital of Smoketown. By the way, these are on the bones of real cities, and I forget where some of these are. It might say here, I forget. It's a constitutional republic, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. It has 83,000 trained soldiers, part-time army, 6,000 elite, has naval forces, air force, wilderness scouts. And the point of this, the reason why I'm saying this, is that even in the city where, it's mostly mutants, they are not helpless. They're not just savage animals that decide to put on pants one day. You have to think, what's that?
Which is worse.
It's
actually worse. They have to be taken out first. All of them have to be just smoked. All of them.
What makes an animal pure? Genetics. And we'll get into that later, next week. So anyway, they are on par with the Empire of Humanity. The Empire of Humanity still has some tricks up its sleeve because humans created the world that we live in now and kept control of some things. But these these mutated animals.
Aliens are right.
Yeah, are pretty much humanoid animals. I mean, this is your furry / cosplayer dream. President Thana, you can look at her stats. All right, and we'll pass on. She's 9th level. She's got a master's degree in. What do you have a master's degree in a post-apocalyptic world?
No, it's a fox. Master's degree in thatching,
trickery,
burrowing,
stealing eggs from chicken coops.
There you go.
All right.
Oh, finally, the heroes. Okay.
The heroes of the story for Heathen.
The heroes of the story.
Strongest and most feared of all the post-Holocaust powers is the Empire of Humanity, a tyrannical realm built on the foundation of hate and racism.
No, it's not racism. It's a different species, you motherfucker.
And Heathen Dog curses in segment 1 now, too. I don't feel so bad anymore. The capital is Technoville, an advanced, well-built city around a working fusion reactor, the only one left in North America and perhaps the world. The Empire of Humanity is ruled by a brutal dictatorship intent upon enslaving and exterminating all sentient animals. Ironically, the Empire's economy is dependent on slave labor made entirely of humanoid animals. Slave uprisings are frequent, as are brutal repressions. Nerdy Ogre says, if the humans created the mutants after all of the apocalypse movies made okay, so fair assessment if that's the side you want to be on. Heathen Dog, righteous in his anger.
What is with books nowadays not understanding race and species? I don't understand why this is so hard to wrap around your little shitty little minds. Race is a subset of the same species. A different species is a whole other thing. You can't be racist against a dog if you're a human. You can't be racist against a dog if you're a cat. You can't. It's not racism.
Well, these creatures have been normalized, I guess. They are now Homo porcinus and Homo felis, and I don't know. So in recent years, it has become obvious that the Empire of Humanity is really the sick old man of the political landscape in North America. Repeated attempts to increase the human population have been, at best, abject failures. At worst, they've been disasters with unbelievably bad consequences. The most recent disaster to come to light was an attempt to create a place where only humans proven to have pure human genes, and superior genes at that, would live. You know why this is evil, right?
No, not yet.
It's only one reason. Well, hold on, let me do that again. You know why this is air quotes evil, right?
No.
Because this is straight out of the eugenics handbook of Nazi Germany.
And you know what? That's not really a problem in this context. That is
You just made the point a moment ago.
That is the actual solution.
It's not a problem because there's a difference between race and species.
This is the solution. Yeah. Okay. So what happened? Let's find out. This is a really great idea. How did they write this to be a bad idea? That's what I want to know. Keep going.
To that end, it established Purityville. Well, bad city name.
Yeah, that's really bad branding, but all right, whatever.
This elite community of pure humans was established nearly 10 years ago in response to the discovery by Emperor Christian. Little hint there, little jab at something of an entire community community of human beings living in a small rural village. Unknown to anybody, they were really pig people who had been passing as humans and freely interacting with the rest of the empire for years. I want to give Heathen Dog a second to wash that off of him.
All right. You know what? If humans have lost the ability, they had the ability before the bomb to they had mapped the entire human genome perfectly in such a way where they can make changes that had the outcomes that they wanted. But now they've lost that ability, and they can't find out that a seemingly human looking being is actually a pig. That doesn't make any sense to me, because they have genetically enhanced dogs working for them. They've already stated this. So that means they haven't lost their ability to recognize and manipulate genetic material. So how did all these pig people be mistaken for humans? Plot? Bad plot.
Bioenergy points, that's how.
Bad plot. Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, as we'll find out later, you could spend the bioenergy points to make that happen. But anyway, what's the fun in that? From the very beginning, the offspring of the elite at Purityville were plagued with mutations like deforming or missing limbs and featureless faces reminiscent of egg-headed aliens. This is straight from Transdimensional TMNT, by the way. As well as humans with animal powers. Attempts at culling these quote-unquote freaks, i.e. killing them, triggered riots and threats of revolution against the Empire. Changing tactics, the Empire scientists decided to simply clone what they considered the best of Purityville's off.
Okay.
24. Look,
No, go on.
stupid empire stays stupid for again plot.
For plot, yeah.
24 perfect human children were selected, each one to be duplicated 20 times. The resulting 480 children became the Empire's brightest hope to keep the human line pure and strong. As babies, they were bright and healthy. When they all entered kindergarten, the Empire started showing on television and creating posters advertising them as the future of the Empire. Wow, Hitler Youth. Cute and smart, and obviously pure humans. Plans were drawn up to recreate humanity by the thousands, and then by the millions. And then they were 7. At the tender age of 7, the 479 innocent looking children, one had died in infancy, attempted a coup. For nearly 3 weeks, the world shook as their superhuman powers were revealed. Oh, it's the boys.
Basically, yeah.
Far from innocent, all 479 shared a group mind as well as a range of abilities that include
Oh
teleportation.
no, it's not. It's the Christopher Reeve women in this one town all getting pregnant in the same night, giving birth to half alien kids who were mentally connected to each other. I forget the name of the movie, but that's what this is. And you know how they solved that
Wait,
problem?
you're talking Sense8, right?
No,
Okay, good.
it's older than that. How they solved that problem? They killed all the children. That's the only way to solve this fucking problem.
Look, so the folks in chat who are either complaining about this backstory or trying to justify it. My problem with the backstory is that it's overly simplistic. This is not reminiscent of Palladium backstories in any fashion. Even when it's silly, even when you kind of, I think that Palladium goes off the rails with some of its Palladium fantasy stuff, and for me, some of its riff stuff. It's interesting, and it's cohesive, and it makes sense, I guess is what I'd say. Even if I'm just like, whatever. This just, the entirety from beginning to end doesn't make sense.
1995, Village of the Damned.
Village of the Damned, okay. One-Legged Frog had it right, Village of the Damned. So that's the problem that we're having with this. So again, I love the game. I love the game. This is the game I've run the most in its previous incarnation. So we'll get to that later. So what powers do they have? Teleportation, advanced mind control, and telemechanics. They're also incredibly brutal regarding anyone not of their group mind to be subhuman and worthy only of extermination. Many blame the Empire's relentless humans first propaganda as the reason why the children were so warped, while others point to raising the children without normal families or some flaw in the cloning process.
No, you created a different species, and they are inherently against all other species. That's what happens. It's especially a species who is telepathic only with each other. It instantly insulates themselves from every other intelligent being. The only answer: murder everything that's not you.
Or make it subservient if you don't want to murder it. Yeah.
No, these guys are smart.
No, yeah, these guys went the murder. I'm saying, but the other thing, they could have just made it subservient, right?
Yeah. But murder is smarter.
Oh, no, don't say that, James. Don't say that. It's not true. It just happens to come across poorly here. Palladium sounds like woke trash. No, it's not.
No,
but thank you for the $2.
It's not. This is just really, really bad writing.
Yeah, this is the worst of all the Palladium. This is worse than Splicers.
And Splicers was not great. But if you look at our community tab and look at the poll, pick Chaos Earth and Rifts as a winner in the poll, because Chaos Earth's backstories, it's beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. And unlike this pile of steaming garbage, it makes sense every step of the way. Yes, I could see that happening. Yes, I could see that happening. It all makes sense. No matter how far down the rabbit hole you go, you understand how you got there. Unlike this trash, where after step 2, you friggin' lost me. After step 2, it becomes Fantasyland.
Right. Now
I'm gonna go get more soda while you say more of this word salad.
Okay. Well, the folks that are saying this woke trash, this is long before woke. This was done in 2000, and I think it was done again. I think it was done in an over-the-top attempt to make you want to play the animal side. Really, that's what I believe happened. So this is before woke. Now, it wasn't before progressivism, but it was definitely before woke. I think it was just a simplistic way of changing the original story. Because remember, this isn't the original way the game was set up. This is after lost the TMNT license and wanted to keep making the game and wanted to add some stuff to it, which we'll talk about later. This is, yeah. I think it was just meant like give us a couple quick paragraphs in here, give us a couple pages of how this whole thing came to be. Boom. But to be fair, even in the original version, the Empire of Humanity was like this. Okay, so I mean, they were meant to be the bad guys because you're supposed to play mutant animals. You weren't supposed to play the good guys. But unlike, say, Mage the Ascension, where the Technocracy are the bad guys, you could actually play the Technocracy and have a reason for it. So, all right, so let's go into this. So I can get through this before Heathen Dog comes back. The only thing that saved the Empire of Humanity, and likely everyone else in North America, was interference from the outside. It seemed that the three-eyed mutant elephants, the mystics of Ganesh, the theocracy of India, appeared on the scene to help put down the Purityville children. Ever since then, the Empire of Humanity seems to have lost a bit of its optimism for the future. While still far better armed and equipped militarily, as a political entity, it seems to have faltered. Its bright hope for a human resistance, or renaissance, again, reading is apparently not my strong suit anymore, dashed by too many failures, too many enemies. For the time being, the Empire of Humanity has turned back to looking for humans with a known and traceable human lineage from before the crash and treating them as elite blue bloods of their society and encouraging them to have offspring. Note, humans who mysteriously develop animal or superhuman powers are genetically accepted in human society, especially since Emperor Christian is such a gifted human. But some question the purity of their genes and even their human lineage. Most humans of the Empire choose to believe that these superhumans have evolved and adapted, so blinders on, head in the sand, ostrich syndrome, and are developing powers and abilities to better cope with the hostile environments after the crash and the growing number of mutant animals that threaten mankind. So here we go. Population, language, etc. Military forces, none of that stuff matters at this point. Emperor Christian, he's diabolic, of course. Some pretty decent stats. Professor Cyback, again, these are characters from the original Mutant After the Bomb that have been ported over to this one. Typical human soldier. We're pretty much done with this part now. We're going to go into real combat after this. Isn't this a dog boy picture from Rifts? Maybe not. So, now, I had to go through all that as much as I didn't want to, because that is the backstory to the game. I mean, that is what you're playing. It is not the original backstory. I much prefer the original one. My world is actually even different from that to some degree. You do not play humans in my game. You will play a mutant animal in my game, but we'll talk about that later, because that's what the game's about.
The villain in your game?
Well, my game's set up differently than this one.
Okay.
So, mine is more Mad Maxy, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, fair.
New Kennel is the... Do we want to read New Kennel? Yeah, I can do it quickly.
No, we want to go into combat.
We do have to go into combat, yes. The only remaining allies of the Empire of Humanity are the dogs of New Kennel. Just 10 years ago, the dogs were integrated into the Empire. However, too many infiltrators, not all the dogs were so craven, caused the humans to set up the dogs with their own nation. New Kennel is heavily dependent on the Empire of Humanity for manufactured goods, etc., etc. New Kennel's population is almost entirely assorted breeds of mutated dogs. There's also quite a few wolves, coyotes, foxes, and others who can pass for dogs to avoid the Empire's slaves camp. There you go. Other notable places, we're not going to read them. The Plains of Free Cattle, that is from Roadhogs, if I remember correctly. The Roadhogs expansion. Nyack. Wasn't this the original capital? This is obviously New York. No, I think...
Awesome.
Yeah, I think... well, it's going to play on the puns. Bird Island, Rodent Cartel of Philly. Oh, whatever that is. A whole bunch of mutant birds.
Oh, look at those! Look at those disgusting things. Jesus. God.
So when's Heathen Dog going to join my After the Bomb game?
Never.
Contested Landstorm, South, and counter tables. Yeah, there we go.
Not unless I get to be a good guy.
What is going on here? Oh, okay. There's somebody up there trying to rip off the robots. All right, that's it. Yeah, so we're gonna go into combat next. We got the backstory of this. There's really not much else to go in here. If this has upset you, if this has turned you into hating dog boys are the goodest boys, there you go. that's Rifts and not Empire of Humanity or After the Bomb, but it definitely similarities. There's some overlap there for sure. 158. There's one more thing to talk about before